Hi guys. So I was just looking for updates on Harry and Meghan, and I saw this, which was published on the 23rd. Today's the 24th. So yesterday, this was published. I think I saw it yesterday, but I didn't really sort of focus in on it. And so today I'm looking at it. It's in Newsweek. It's written by a royal correspondent for Newsweek. So he's in America, and excuse me. So, my goodness, what do I think about this? Um, hi, Harry, sweet Harry. I want to say poor Harry, but there's nothing poor about him. He's a fighter, and so is his wife, Meghan, and they're going to make it one way or another. It's just that it's really bad. It's a lot. And so, back in September, the judge throughout the case, the Heritage Foundation's case, seeking to open up Harry's visa records, where, in his book Spare, he's admitted to taking different drugs like um, cannabis, cocaine, mushrooms, and so on. And apparently, the law is that um, people who take drugs, sell it, take it, whatever, are not typically allowed into the country. I'm not really an immigration expert, so, or even a drug law expert, but I think it's something like that. If you've taken drugs, if you admit to selling, using, trafficking drugs, this is somehow a bar to obtaining a visa in the United States. So Harry, in his book Spare, he made certain admissions that were, greedily pounced upon by the jackals who are out to destroy his life and his marriage. And one way that they seek to do that is to bust up his visa situation so that he can no longer legally reside in or live in, for that matter, the United States. So yeah, where are we now with this? So the judge in the case, as I said back in September, granted summary judgment to the U.S. government, who had brought the case, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and basically said that Harry has a right to privacy and that his visa records are private. And in fact, the judge went further by keeping certain aspects of the case, disclosures, etc., private, so that the public has no legal right to see these documents. And also, apparently, there were certain meetings by the Department of Homeland Security lawyers and the judge in the case that were also not privy to the public or perhaps even opposing counsel. It sounds like there might have been some ex parte communications in the case. So now, what's happening to our sweet Harry is that the Heritage Foundation um, is seeking to reopen the case, and this worries me a lot, you guys. This worries me a lot. As I said, this is not my area of expertise, and I can't really say for sure that one way or another what is likely to happen, but what is most worrisome to me is that the Heritage Foundation is not stopping. So even if the court refuses to open up the case again, which is what they're asking, they're going to keep appealing all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is very much pro-Trump. Um, I can't even call it, and I say this with all due respect, but it's less and less a court and more a political weapon, in my opinion. I hope I'm allowed to say that. And so this is trouble because if, God forbid, Trump wins the election, and I fear that Trump, I mean, you all know, if you've been listening to my videos from the very beginning, I had very, very strong fears about a Harris challenge to uh, ex-President Trump, because I felt that it wasn't the strongest candidate to put up against Trump, because many reasons. I mean, this is not a political video, that's for a different time. But the point, though, is that I hope to God I'm wrong about Harris's candidacy. I hope to God that she wins this election, because if she does not, if Trump wins the election, then Harry is in big trouble. And maybe even Meghan, they'll start to harass her, even though she is American. They'll find a way. They'll find a way. There are many people who are going to be in big trouble when Trump becomes president, if he does. And Harry and Meghan are at the top of the list, because the Supreme Court, this case will go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, as I said, when I was younger, much, much younger, like, much, much younger, 20 years ago, more, you know, um, maybe even 30, the court was, a formidable thing. It was serious. It made sense. It was, you know, there was justice there in some ways, but now it's not about justice. Justice, perhaps, but if you have 20 things that the court is about today, justice may be number 21. It's just not on their list of top 20 things to worry about. And I fear that they will do Trump's bidding and toss Harry out of the country after putting him through the most humiliating of public flogging. Now, why is so, here you have Melania Trump's mom's papers released in Prince Harry case. So Trump is very much involved in this, as is, I feel, Harry's family, quote unquote, in the UK, and of course the British media. It's a multi-pronged conspiracy. And what is it that they would hope to achieve by getting Harry kicked out? Well, one, just humiliation. Two, destroying his marriage and his fatherhood. Three, forcing him back to the UK, because even if it's true that Harry and Meghan bought a house in Portugal, we can already see where the UK press is going with this, is that they're already starting to rile up the Portuguese people against Harry and Meghan. They're always starting to write articles that the local Portuguese don't want Harry and Meghan in Portugal, right? So even if it's true that they bought an escape clause with real estate in Portugal just in case, that too may not work out, because they're going to rile up the Portuguese people against Harry and Meghan in the press, in the media, and also behind the scenes diplomatically. I don't think it's just a question of the nasty articles that will be written. It's also what's going on secretly behind closed doors with high-powered diplomats, making sure that Portugal understands that you either pick him or you pick us, right? And whatever the consequences are going to be, I don't know, whether it's trade, whether it's just diplomatic relations, whatever, it's going to be in the interest of the Portuguese government to get rid of Harry and Meghan out of their country, because that's just how this is going to play. So the question is, I mean, this is really hardball. They're playing real hardball here. And the question is, why? Like, what is it? Like, what do they achieve other than busting up Harry's marriage? by forcing Harry back to the UK because the UK can't kick Harry out. He was born there, and the law says, international law says, that every human person has a right to a nationality. They have to be allowed to live somewhere. You can't throw them off the planet, right? So he'll be forced back to the UK when all of the dust settles. But the question is, what interest do they have with having Harry, a single Harry, a miserable Harry, a depressed Harry, a humiliated Harry, a suicidal even Harry back in the UK? I mean, and one YouTuber suggests that, because, if you notice lately, they've been giving Harry a lot of good press. It's like, come back, Harry, and come back alone, right? And we will forgive you, right? And I'm sure Harry's taking note of that. And we all have to just wait and see what he does with that data. But, it's just amplifying, come back, Harry, and come back alone. Come back, Harry, and come back alone. Come back, Harry, and come back alone. And on the other side of it, the Heritage Foundation is kick out Harry, kick out Harry, kick out Harry. So they really want to get Harry out, and they want to get him back to the UK. But for what? Is it to live in Notcott? Is it to live in Kensington Palace? What is it? Is it to marry one of his ex-girlfriends? Do they have a new girl that they think will make the perfect wife for him? Is it to be what? The spare again, just in case something happens to William so that he can stand in for George until George is of age? I mean, is it what? To get him to stop doing these royal tours so that, because if there's no Meghan, it's not going to be the same with the royal tours. I mean, the thing with Harry is the element of Meghan. Meghan is that X factor that has been behind why they're getting all of these invites. If you think about it, yes, sure, he'll get other invites if he goes back and he gets a new wife that they think is appropriate for him. But it's going to be very different. It's going to be managed by the palace, and it's going to be appropriately second, third, fourth, fifth fiddle to William and Kate and Charles and Camilla. I mean, Charles and Camilla were just in Australia and they were booed. I mean, they were heckled. They were shouted out of the parliament. They were humiliated in a way that Harry and Meghan have never faced on any trip. There has been no tour that Harry and Meghan have taken, whether when working as working royals or when working as non-working royals, they have never been subject to heckles, boos, egging, any of those things. And routinely, Charles and Camilla are getting egged, they're getting heckled, they're getting booed, right? William and Kate, ditto for them. I mean, their last trip to wherever in the Caribbean, Jamaica, and a few other countries was an unmitigated disaster. It was one for the history books, right? And since then, they haven't recovered. They haven't gone on any trips. And then, the wheels fell off their wagons with the cancer thing and, William swing in public. And I mean, I don't know if they have any invites, but it's just, it's a mess. But here you have the golden boy, Harry, just, soaring, going on all these trips. And after Colombia, what did he do? He was in New York, he was in Africa. I mean, just looking like a global statesman. And now the last thing we have of him, he's like surfing as if all is well in his world, right? And so what do? The answer is Heritage Foundation, get rid of him. But what are they going to do with him? Are they going to what? Lock him up in the Tower of London and feed him oatmeal and water till he dies? I mean, what is it that they want? Why are they so hell bent on getting Harry out of America? Because if you get him out of America and then you turn the Portuguese against him, which they've already started to do that, so we know that that's their game plan, and he has no choice but to live in the United Kingdom, his marriage is over. Meghan is not going to go, right? So they have forced a divorce or at least a permanent separation because Harry has to live someplace, right? So, I mean, what is it that doing this to Harry does what? I mean, the UK media, oh, Harry, come back. Is it that they love Harry? Is this love? Is it love that made them do all of the things that they have done to this man and trying to destroy the family that this man loves? You love me so much, so you destroy my family, whom I love, right? So you destroy my family, whom I love, and this proves to me that you love me. I mean, it's so completely illogical and irrational and insane that I can't for the life of me figure out what they hope to accomplish. But I can tell you something, if Kamala Harris loses this election, Harry and Meghan are in big trouble. And that's why I tend to believe the Portugal house story, because they know. They know it. They see the handwriting on the wall. They see the handwriting on the wall. They see the polls. They hear the news of all the shenanigans going on at, the polling places and the early voting and the swing states and the this, that, and the next. They know. And from the very beginning, but you know what? I hope I'm wrong about Kamala Harris. I pray I'm going to get on my knees. I'm going to pray that for once I'm wrong. I am wrong. And she, in fact, wins. And not only does she wins by a landslide. So there's no question about who won this election. Because if she loses this election, Harry and Meghan are at the top of the executioner's list. I mean, there are many others. There are many others, but they are going to be at the top, in the top five, that are going to be in very big trouble. Anyway, you guys, that's all for this one. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.